walk you through Robo Linux and the configuration menus, and specifically I'm going to walk you through what should be configured when you first install Robo Linux after you run your updates. One thing I should share, if you install Robo Linux on a virtual machine, it takes up to 30 minutes, but on a bare hard drive, like a laptop like this, it only takes about 12 minutes. So take that in consideration. Okay, so one of the first things you want to do is we're going to walk you through the simple settings that should be taken care of as soon as you install all your updates on Robo Linux. So go into settings. We're going to start at the top menu and walk you through all the settings. Go to additional drivers. This is to configure third-party proprietary drivers. Click there. Linux is good about looking for any type of drivers. It's searching now that's proprietary to your machine and any version of Linux that you're running, and you'll see there's no additional drivers. If there was, we would take care of it right here. So this is all clear with my particular hardware. Now, if this is your hardware and it came up, you'd go ahead and click and install the additional drivers because your hardware would need that. Mine does not, so I'll click close. Okay, next, go back to settings. Next, you'll see everything here is more or less a choice, so we'll go ahead and skip those items and go down to Firewall Configuration. Here it'll ask for your password and put your password in. One of the first things you want to do with any operating system, specifically Linux, is just turn on your firewall. Now this is very simple. You don't have to do any configuration. Just go down here below profile where it says status and just click the on. And as soon as you see color, everything's running. That's all there is to it. If you want to configure certain rules, you can do that, but you should always turn on your firewall. Okay? X that out. Next, go back into settings, and let's make sure we have everything done. Everything you see here does not have to be configured at this point. Although if you wanted to set up your power settings, you can do it here. For instance, if you wanted your display settings on battery or plugged in, if you're on a laptop like I am, you could make your adjustments here. Also, the brightness reduction, this saves on your battery life, and if your power is plugged in, and again, if you're only on a laptop, this applies, you can make your power settings here. So be aware you have all these extra settings. We're not going to go through these now. We're just going to move on and make sure we covered everything in this particular area. So go back to settings. And again, if you have Bluetooth, you want to pair up a pair of speakers or whatever, you do it here. Also your display settings. But again, what I'm trying to do in this video is get you just started with what you need to configure. Games, that's optional. Graphics. Now this is again optional, but if you're into taking screenshots or organizing photos, you can take care of that, which is all pre-installed. FlameShot is something that they have here that you can configure, or if you do need to scan documents, again, it's all right here. Next is the installer section, which is quite detailed and could take some time. But what Robo Linux has done here is they put everything here set up for you, and I think that's quite interesting they've done this. So let's take a look. So at the top is the installs the popular apps in one click automatically, and this is Robo Linux is something that's built in that you're not going to normally see in other Linux distributions. Okay, so what's going on here? I don't know. Let's click on here and take a look. So we want a password. We'll put that in and see what happens. Loading Robo Linux installers, upgrade web pages. We're going to just find out. Again, this is the first time I've seen this. It may or may not work, but who knows? So it pulls up this page here, And now we move over to the app installer upgrades. So what's this all about? Let's take a look together. So these are actually app upgrades, and the installer is free, is what they say. So here's all the items that you can install. And I don't particularly want to mess with this right now because it's on their website. So I'm going to click out of that. So let's go back down to the installers and go to BleachBit. Now I am familiar with this. This wipes free disk space and deletes files for privacy. It's a cleanup program. So if you do a lot of installing or uninstalling, this particular program called BleachBit will actually take care of that for you. Okay, so let's see what happens. Again, they take us to this page, and you're going to have to walk through this and install it from here. So so you have to download the Robo Linux Apps Upgrade installer for free. So this is something now they have built in to this operating system that's different, because normally this would be handled elsewhere. So let's find out what's going on. So you would go ahead and take a look at this. I'm not used to a web interface. So let's take a look at, we'll go with XFCE, and let's find out what this is all about. So this is Apps Installer Upgrade for Robo XFCE Series 11 for free. So they do give you a step-by-step easy installation instructions here. So let's take a look at this. So it says go ahead and download. While installing Robo Linux installers from the main menu, it says that as shown on the screen, you will see a terminal open and ask you for your password. So let's click on this, and it opens up this menu. And I want this to work and to show you how it works, and I need to know how it works. So I will save the file. So there we are. And step 3, now when you click on the popular one-click installer, it will install the app you clicked on instantly. So let's take a look at this. So we'll open this up, and we drop this window, and let's just see what it's all about. App Upgrade Installers. So there you are. So what do I do with this? We're going to have to see what it does. They have a lot of upgrades. So this is for each installer itself. This is for BleachBit, IP2 installer, Steam, that's for games, Tor browser, Tor chat, and Wireshark. Now we're not going to install all of these, but just so you can see, they put a shell script in here for you. So let's double click on it and see if it runs. And so it opens up this window now, and it says the installer has successfully ran. So this is a little bit different than what you're normally going to see. So I just wanted to show you how that's actually done. And there it is running in the background. So this is a different experience in regards to Robo Linux and how it actually handles in-house installations of applications. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. And who knows if that really worked or not. I guess I'd have to go down to accessories or programs to find out if that installed properly. Okay, so let's run down, and we have a lot of installers. If you notice, in the Office programs, we didn't have LibreOffice. It didn't install it like a lot of the distributions do. So let's go ahead and install under the applications. It asks for my password, so we'll put in my password and hit enter. And it looks like it's going to run it from the command line. So it says installing the newest LibreOffice version now. So this is a different way of doing it. So if you're a regular Linux user, You just have to follow the instructions under the installer's menu that I just did. So now it's going to go ahead and install LibreOffice. So most of us would like to have an Office program, but in this case it didn't install it right out of the box. It gives you the option, and it's going to go ahead and do this, and we get to see this live. Press enter to continue, and I'll do that, and we'll just follow the screens and see how this turns out. Spread this out so you can see more of it. And this is very typical, except this is what's called a PPA, and we'll go ahead and let this install because I really would like to use Office. So again, this is for your benefit and for mine, so I know how to do this and what it looks like. And for those who may not know, I was wondering what version of Linux is installed here. It looks like it's Ubuntu. Now we're all done. It says, wait, we want a yes here. So let's answer that question, hit enter. And if the reason I know it's Ubuntu because the repository shows where it's pulling all the files from. Go ahead and go back to the menu and take a look at where we think it would be, which would be under Office, and you'll see now LibreOffice is successfully installed. So let's open up the Writer program, and everything installed probably just fine. And they are. So now LibreOffice is working. It's giving us tips and test. So yes, it works just fine. So we'll go ahead and close this program. Don't save. So that's installed. Okay, the next item on our list is on the installers. Now, this is something that's new to me and probably to you. It's called Robo Fastboot application. Robo Fastboot makes your Linux OS boot 10 times faster, so they say. It runs on all system MD based on Linux operating systems. So let's take a look at this. Again, it takes you to their website, not to a specific repository. So this is all new. Now you can boot 5 to 7 times faster. And this is their website, and they give you a bunch of videos to watch. And let's increase the font size. And so there you go. So you click on to install Robo Fastboot on your favorite Linux distro. Well, I know which one I just installed, so let's take a look. So I know I'm running the XFCE version, and we also know that we're running a Ubuntu base. So this is available for all these different versions. So we're going to take Ubuntu, because that's what I'm running, and go down here. It says how to install and activate Fastboot on system MD Linux operating systems. Okay, so here's the instructions. Let's take a look at this together. Linux operating system kernels and systems have become much larger, far more complex, and extremely versatile, which has made them boot way slower. In the old days, Linux was first available to the public. Now there's 20 different Linux UI desktop flavors and 100,000 Linux software applications. To decrease the boot time requires a series of experts who know who slows down Linux and how to safely and carefully tweak hundreds of low-level system files so your machine can boot up 10 times faster. So this is the items that he says, the developer, that he can do for you. So let's walk through the steps. Step 1. To run RoboBoost Fastboot, which works on all 32 and 64-bit system MD based Linux operating systems, you need to first download and run a shell script application installer explained in step 1 and 2. Then proceed to step 3 through 7 below. So step 1. click and download and save the Robo UNTRACKER and then shell script. So now this is a problem because UNTRACKER actually will cost you money. Now they don't tell you this, so I'm going to go ahead and download it. But let's say I want to, let's just go through the steps. UNTRACKER is a paid subscription. So in order to have this function to work properly, I will save you the step and stop here. If you notice down here, you have to buy this. So this is something that's not traditional in Linux, because Linux is open source. But for this particular item that this developer has made, and I'm not promoting him at all for this, but this is something he has done specific to this application in Robo Linux. If you want this feature, you have the option to buy it. Now I'm going to stop here. The menus, what I have learned very quickly, is anything that you go through in the installer list that takes you, not everything, but most everything, that's specific to a feature that you're normally not going to see in Linux, not everything, could cost you money. So we're going to skip over those steps. So again, you have to go through and figure out, do you want to pay an extra fee for something specific that the developer has made that does something very special that you're interested in? So we're going to skip over that step. Okay, so the next idea is, okay, so what do we do now if I want to go into Robo On Tracker? Well, what that will do is you can't have Robo On Tracker unless you pay for it. So again, I'm going to leave this off my video because I don't want to pay for it. But if you find out this is something that you want to do, just go to the website, look up all the instructions, and pay for the service. And there are some really good features here. So that is up to you, and I am not going to cover this in the video. Okay, some of the things that Robo Linux developer has covered was some of the features that he has is to interface Windows inside of Linux so you can run your Windows programs. So let's take a look. So now this is in the stealth virtual machine mode. Now I find this interesting because I haven't done any of this. So let's see, automatically build Windows 10 virtual machine 64-bit. So let's just take a look at this. I'm going to click on this and walk through it with you and find out if any of this works the way I think it will. So let's take a look. Again, this is the first time I've ever run any of this software, and I feel that Robo Linux runs as an operating system quite well. I got nothing there, so let's go back to Stealth Linux again. That was just our backup Windows installer. Build Windows virtual machine automatically. So that's 64-bit. We'll try that again. Downloading. And it doesn't appear that this is going to work unless I have an install prepared. So nothing loads. So as a stealth machine, you must probably pay for something else before this all works correctly. Now, a way around this is if you run a stealth machine with the paid subscriptions to whatever this gentleman offers, all this would probably work quite well. But if you try to run it by itself, automatically builds a Windows virtual machine. If you click on it, if you notice, this is discouraged, and then it just drops. So, but I'll show you how to do it. Build a virtual machine, which I've done in numerous videos. So basically, this gentleman wants you as a developer to pay for all his services in order to plug in all these other virtual machine services that he's advertising, which is fine, and I'm sure it all works just fine, but I will not pay for it. So most Linux users won't pay for services unless they feel that this is something that's going to help them or beneficial. So in this video, I will not cover all that, but if you wanted to install a virtual machine, type in VirtualBox and your password, and this is if you wanted to install a virtual machine on any Linux system, but in this specific application, we'll just show you really quickly how to install VirtualBox. So it says here, this takes time as adds VirtualBox to your kernel. So this is something that's built in. Now, on any other Linux distribution, VirtualBox could be added. So this is nothing new, but if you want to run his specific software the developer has created, you're going to have to pay for those services. But be advised, you can install this free on any Linux distribution. So VirtualBox is not something that's new. So just be advised, if you're a new Linux user, installing VirtualBox can be done outside of Robo Linux. So we're going to go ahead and walk through the installation just to see if it works, and take it from there. Okay, so now we're under the configuration of the VirtualBox here. So this is a little bit different than what you would normally see on most installations. So we're going to go ahead and read all this, and we're going to agree to it and hit OK. So they want you to use the tab button on this configuration menu in the terminal. You accept the terms, just tab to yes and hit enter. So in this particular installation, he's using the command line install versus the GUI face install, so it's a little bit different. So if you're installing a VirtualBox with the if you go to the repository, you won't see this type of installation, but it's very effective. It worked quite well, and we'll stand by. Successfully installed Oracle VirtualBox, as you can see down here in the bottom line of the command line installation, and there it is. So how do we know it installed? Well, the first thing we're going to do is go down here, and you can either look for it or you can search for it. So you go VirtualBox, but we're going to have and there's the installer. Now you'll see here, anytime you install something, and in this system there's quite a bit of stuff, just search for it in the bottom line and you'll see VirtualBox. And this here is the installer, which we just ran this. You can actually add to favorites. Let's put this on a desktop so we can see this. Okay, so this is just like any other installation. The only difference is we install it from the command line. So if you're going to create a VirtualBox, which I've done on numerous videos, which I want to skip, you would just click here and you go through the configuration of a VirtualBox. So this is no different than any other Linux distribution. Okay, so next we went through all the menus except System, and we're down to the last menu. Let's take a look at first time boot up report. Here it says that the time it takes your machine to boot if you have not installed Fastboot, and we have not, because they want to charge us for it, and I don't like that. So this is going to run a something different. It gives us all the facts. Your machine takes longer than 5 to 10 seconds to boot, then you do not have Robo Linux. So all they're doing here is telling you how long it takes for you to boot your machine, so that's fine. Here also they have Fastboot diagnostics, excuse me, and of course this is all indicative of building in all the stuff that points him towards selling you something. Again, I'm not trying to talk down on this developer. It's just this would be fantastic if you're going to buy his software, but I'm not. And this is the installs custom Fastboot files in one click. Again, this makes it very user-friendly to get you up and running. Additional drivers configure third-party, which I think we did this earlier, and there was nothing going on. And auto upgrade, automatically upgrade Robo Linux. Now I chose the XFCE11 to a newer version. So this is a nice little feature. If you don't want to run the upgrades yourself, you can set the auto upgrade. So let's just find out how this works. And we'll click the window and type in my password and see how this works. Installs the newest upgrade 5.4 kernel and also upgrades important security application updates. Beware that Ubuntu update will interfere with the Robo Linux auto upgrade. Please click Control-C and stop the Robo Linux upgrade. Then wait until the Ubuntu installer has finished hogging the app. Wow, he's very forward about his statements, so this is something you want to read. Again, this is interesting to follow, so I'm going to walk you through it because again I've never seen it. So let's open this window a little bit further so you can see what's happening. So it looks like it's running through the scripts. This is the auto updater. So this is a nice feature if you want to have your system auto update, not have to actually check all the time. There are a couple things folks may or may not like about auto updating. If it breaks your system, you're not going to know what broke it until you check your log files, so be aware of that. It's a nice feature to have. It's up to you. I don't care either way. I prefer to check all my updates manually so I know what's going on, and if something does break, then I have a starting point knowing what I upgraded and where it broke. So if you're doing troubleshooting, maybe this will help. Again, you can check that in your log files. Okay. So we'll let this finish the installation. And it opens up again to this page. And anytime it opens here, in my experience, how to install and activate, that means he probably wants you to pay for something. You don't see your OS on Tracker, and so my guess is this is something, again, he directs you to his website for the very fact that he wants you to pay for a specific activation. And here we go again, and I don't want to pay. So a lot of the features that are built in that are super cool, that do a lot of cool stuff, just be aware you will have to pay for it. Okay, and we're at the bottom of the list here. Again, there's a lot of cool features built in here. It's a very nice system. It has everything most Linux systems have. It even has a system cleaner built in right here, which is the last thing I have not checked. Let's take a look at this. Overall, my assessment is it's a good system, but if you're and that closed quickly because it just gave me a window to check items that I can clean. Again, my assessment, it's a decent operating system. Everything you need is here. If you need the extra bells and whistles for security, Robo Linux is for you. But be aware, you will have to pay. That's all I have. KC7NYR. Thanks for watching.